episode of Going For It. You should see a different individual, a different white man has taken the place of one Craig Brooks. He has more hair. He is probably a
a lot more hair.
Significantly more hair. He is a more astute football mind. That's why we've brought him in. He doesn't just listen to what Pat McAfee says and regurgitate it. He has his own thoughts and feelings. Friend of the pod, Mike Spillane, joining us this evening. Welcome. And as always, the voice of sensibility and sourpuss himself, Mike Thomas. Thank you for being here, gentlemen.
Still with that?
Still sourpuss.
Just because I have resting sourpuss face doesn't mean it's okay for you to make fun of me.
You know what? It's noted. I'll run it up to the board. We'll check in with HR and make sure that that's, we'll see where we fall on this sourpuss thing.
I mean, there's a Facebook group and everything.
We'll run it up the flagpole and see what happens. My mom is the head of HR. I don't like your chances. I don't feel good about how this is going to go for you.
I feel like
I've met his mom. Your chances are actually pretty shit poor right now.
So last we were here, it was just Craig Brooks and I, and we did a little bit of a run through in the AFC conference. But because we have other minds here, people that don't just poo-poo everything that I say, I want to run through all of the divisions. We're going to start in the NFC East. We're going to do the AFC East, go through each division and get everyone's suspected winners. I feel like we'll have some good conversation there. And I want to start in the NFC East because I do think it is one of, if not the most competitive divisions in football. And I'm going to lead off with my fellow Giants friend, fan, brother, Mike Spillane. Who do you have winning the NFC East? What is your 1 through 4?
So as much as I want to pick Big Blue to win the division, the Eagles are just too stacked of a team. The entire roster is absolutely disgusting. I do have the Giants coming in second, though. Because I think that they're going to steal a game on opening Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys, and that's going to be one of the things that's going to make a difference for them. So I have it Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, Redskins, big but
Commanders.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. They're already planning on changing the name again.
They're going back to Redskins probably.
It's insensitive. Like my bad. So, but here is my bold prediction, and I'm starting it off bold because you started with this division. All 4 teams make the playoffs.
Whoa!
Wow,
that would be a first.
I believe in Sam Howell. You a Sam Howell defender?
I believe that team is good enough in spite of Sam Howell.
Okay,
they do have pieces around him that are going to be good enough to get the job done. So there's got to be a bold prediction somewhere on here, right? I mean, it's my first time. I'm making a flash. I'm just having fun.
You know what? Most bold predictions are involving Anthony Richardson on this podcast. So you know what? I will take it. I will take some Washington Commanders / Redskins / whatever they decide to change their name to under new ownership. Interesting. Very interesting. Mike Thomas, what are your feelings about the NFC
Washington
East?
Commanders, as of this recording, first place in the NFC East. 1-0, baby. Everybody else is 0-1. Take it to the bank. They are not going to finish that. They're not going to finish in first place.
They will not be there. At the
Eagles, the NFC East is always interesting because the teams, whether they're good or whether they're bad, they're always competitive. Like they always kind of stay at the same level. So nobody really, except for maybe a year here and there, nobody really dominates everybody else. It's either everybody's a 10-win team or everybody is dog shit. And this is the year that I feel like they all could be 10-win teams except for the Commanders. So the Eagles are probably the favorite. I would probably, if I had to put money on the division, I would put money on them, but it would be a very small amount. Very small amount. Because I would not be shocked at all if the Giants or Cowboys win this division.
That's interesting. So, go ahead.
I will add a fun fact for you about the NFC East, and this might have been what Pat was about to say, is that there has not been a repeat NFC East champion since 2004.
It's a
which
long
was
time
also
ago.
the Eagles when they won four times in a row. So it's been a different champion every year for almost 20 years at this point.
So I wanna go to you, Mike, because I've
You're gonna have to be more specific than
vocalized.
that.
Mike Spillane. I will go to you just because I vocalized my feelings about Jalen Hurts, how I feel like he's better than he was in his first full season, but I don't think he's actually as good as he was last year. Do you think, which version of Jalen Hurts do you think is closer to the player that we'll see when eventually this offensive line is going to need to be separated, because there is a cap in the NFL, whether you choose to believe it or not. All of these receivers cannot be paid at the same time. You can't pay your tight end. You can't, like, they have a different running back stable than they had before. What do you think is the true version of Jalen Hurts?
So I still think this year it's going to be close to what it was last year. He's still going to be a good quarterback. He's still going to be productive. It's mostly important just to make sure that he mitigates turnovers, which I think, given the setup they have, they'll still be fine. Missing Miles Sanders, who contributed a lot of scoring for them last year and a good amount of yardage, is going to be difficult to replace. But they still have debatably the best, if not the best, like a top 3 receiving core in the NFL, especially if you include tight end. Dallas Goedert along with AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, that's huge. So the fact that he has that good of a team around him, he's still going to be successful. I have no doubts in my mind about that. But you are right that there's contracts coming up on that offensive line, and they've paid a lot of people, kicking the can down the road. So they're going to struggle to keep those people paid moving forward. So I think he'll still be good this year, but I can't guarantee that he's going to have the same protections 2-3 years from now.
Mike Thomas, what is the view of Dak Prescott from the outside? You are an AFC guy, Steelers fan through and through. What is your feelings about Dak Prescott, especially coming into this season? There's been a lot of negative press around him. He's turning the ball over in camp. I'm pretty sure his number one corner called him a bitch, like, to his face. And he, like, you didn't see that? I'm going to send you that video. He, like, said it to his face.
Like on the field?
Oh yeah, like during a scrimmage in practice. Dak, did he throw a pick? I feel like he threw a pick, and he was like, "Get that weak shit out of here, bitch!" And I was like, "Oh no."
He's just trying to talk up a teammate who's going through a rough patch. That's just men being men on the field. He's just trying to give him a little hip hip. Carry on.
Come on, chum. Don't be a little bitch.
Throw the ball right. Stop being a little bitch. Come on. You've got this.
Men being men when we used to just eat raw meat and
call each other bitch to the face.
I like Dak Prescott, but I don't think he is a top threat at the quarterback position like I once did. I don't fear him taking over a game and being able to win it single-handedly, and I don't know enough about the Cowboys offseason. It feels like they've gotten worse, and I don't expect him to be anything more than a serviceable middle-of-the-road quarterback this year. So, bitch territory maybe, but, still
maybe he's
still
a
better
bitch
than a lot of people.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the thing, is that this division really has, in this moment, has one alpha in Jalen Hurts, and then you have some guys that you're really trying to see what they are. And for people that have been watching the NFC East for a couple years, Mike Spillane and myself, I think we have a better gauge, just because, again, it's in division and whatnot. But, like, Sam Howell, this is his first season as a starter, but you're starting with Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin as your outside wide receivers, which is a really good place to be. Super good. Dak has had CeeDee Lamb. He's had Des Bryant. He's had the ghost of Jason Witten. He's had decent tight ends. He's had the best of Zeke. He's had the worst of Zeke. He's had, and he's never been able to push them into a place of actual true competitiveness. And I feel like, personally, this is a put up or shut up year for Dak, because he counts for $60 million in the cap next season, and they're either going to restructure that and like keep him but like not be happy about it, or you restructure him and then you're like really stoked that you have him. But I feel like it's going to be the first one, just because what we've seen so far is not. I don't know, Mike Splain, you jump in here if you feel like I'm under or overselling Dak Prescott here in any capacity.
No, I mean, the big thing with Dak Prescott is if you look at his turnovers last year in particular, he missed a couple games and he still had the most interceptions out of all the quarterbacks in the division.
It was a
Like,
bad thing. It's not good.
I don't know where he was as far as interceptions in the NFL last year, but he was
number one.
Was he number one?
Yeah, missed
Yeah.
4 games and still was first.
Wow,
Yeah,
with 15 interceptions?
That's not good, you know? And he, they added Brandon Cooks, which I think is a smart add, even though from my time listening to the podcast, Mike Thomas is going to say that he's about deceased. So, because he's about to be 30. But
basically dead.
He's playing like a 35-year-old.
29 though, right? But they also lost Dalton Schultz, which I think is a big part of their offense from the tight end position, and they lost Zeke, which was going to be a guy who scored a lot of touchdowns at the goal line. So I don't know. I don't have the most faith in Dak because I can't trust that he's not going to turn the ball over. And there's been a lot of clips of him turning the ball over in camp. So if he's, this is where my homerism is about to shine. If you look at the average per year cost of a contract on what Dak Prescott and Daniel Jones are being paid, and the fact that they're being paid the same amount of money on an APY standpoint, give me Daniel Jones. I'd rather have Daniel Jones over Dak Prescott because I know he's not going to turn the ball over the way that Dak is currently.
Yeah, Dak is an enigma, but I feel like the question gets harder and harder every year to answer. Like, is he someone that can get you there? And the more I see him play, the less I actually feel like he has the ability to do that. But I digress. Let us pivot. We've spent enough time in my favorite division. Let's pivot to the AFC East. And I made the prediction with Craig to state that I thought that the Dolphins were going to be enough with their offense that I think it's going to be outstanding, that they would be able to win the division, with the caveat that, 1, Tua learned how to fall properly, and 2, they could keep him standing so that he did not have to risk falling incorrectly as much as possible. Mike Thomas, I'm going to go to you first. AFC East, who do you have 1 through 4?
Well, I just want to say Tua has been training to fall to the ground as quickly as possible, and he just is going head first to just get it over with. So that's what his goal has been.
Smart. It's smart. Get the other guy in here as soon as he can. Let him adapt.
Just get it over with. Have the Family Guy fall, where it's just they cut out all the frames of the actual falling, and it's just you're upright and then you're down. Get rid of those. I do think even with that, Miami Dolphins are going to be number 1. I think Buffalo Bills are going to be real. This is going to be an amazing division between the Bills, the Dolphins, the Patriots, and then, the Jets. Well, everybody's giving them the Super Bowl ring. I don't know if I'm buying it. I know I'm not buying it. I think this is going to be a really fun division to watch. Every game is going to be must-see TV. I do think the Dolphins have what it takes to come out on top, assuming everybody stays healthy. You start to get this division so stacked, you start to have a team with 1 or 2 injuries, and it's going to be game over for them.
That's a great point. Mike Spillane, what do you got 1 through 4?
So I still believe that the Bills are going to win the division. I don't think that they've lost enough to where they're going to lose the throne, and I can't trust that Tua is going to stay healthy. Granted, as long as you have someone who could just throw the ball far, those receivers might outrun somebody. Also, I feel like you just saying Mike White, I feel like you just insulted both of us.
No, if it was Mike Pale, I would have been just deeply offended.
Mike did a little bit of yard work today. But no, for me, it's still the Bills at 1. And I think if 2 is healthy, it's the Fins at 2. the Jets at 3, and then the Pats at 4. But again, I still say 3 playoff teams out of this division for sure.
Are we the only Jets hating podcast out there right now?
I think we might be. And so I want to go to you, Mike Spillane, and ask you, it has been well documented on this pod that both Mike Thomas and I are down on Aaron Rodgers. And you and I had a conversation the other day where I firmly believe that the Jets offensive line situation, regardless of how many wide receivers, running backs, cornerbacks, safe, it doesn't matter who else they have. Their offensive line is not good. Aaron Rodgers is 40. That is a hindrance. The man has also won 11 playoff games. He's lost 10, but 4 of those wins came in 2011 when they won the Super Bowl.
I don't want to talk about that year.
I know, it's okay. We don't have to. It can't hurt you anymore, Mike.
It does. It still does.
Mike, explain, why are you putting the Jets 3, even though I think we all agree that they could definitely win a wild card and see a couple games in the playoffs? What has you down on the Jets?
It's not even that I'm down on the Jets; it's that I'm high on the Bills and the Fins. It's just I think that those teams are better built, and a lot of the reason you're saying that is because of the offensive line. The offensive line is not great, and if you watched the Packers last year, granted he didn't have a whole lot of weapons to help him, but Packers offensively were not sexy last year at all, and then Aaron Rodgers wasn't MVP Aaron Rodgers in my opinion. Like he didn't look like he still had that last year, and obviously it might have been the whole darkness retreats, ashwagandha, trying to figure out, or ayahuasca, not ashwagandha, different things. But it just wasn't the same Aaron Rodgers that I feel like captivated the league a few years ago. So I think it's going to be better this year as far as it was from Packers last year. But again, how upright is he going to be? He's got all the weapons in the world now with Garrett Wilson, Lazard. He's got good tight ends. They just signed Dalvin Cook. Breece Hall's coming back off the pup. Like, they're going to be a dangerous team, but he's got 3 seconds to throw the ball.
Maybe 3 seconds. Like, Dwayne Brown is his left tackle, and that dude is already hurt in training camp, and was hurt at the end of last season, was hurt during last season, and will not be coming in at full strength to start the season. That's the left tackle. The right tackle is a guy that I have literally never heard of. Billy Turner.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at some of the edge rushers, lower end, Matthew Judon with the Pats will tear up that offensive line. Von Miller still has the capability to tear up that offensive line. So does an Ed Oliver with Buffalo. I'm not even sure who's on the defensive line for the Fins because you asked me today to join the pod, so I didn't get enough time to research. But
Jalen Phillips will rip some shit up. He's been very disruptive to this point in his NFL career.
Exactly. There's names there that they're going to have to see twice a year. That are they going to be able to get past them with the offensive line that they've constructed? I don't know.
I don't feel good about it.
I don't feel great about it either.
Mike Thomas, anything to add? It seemed like you wanted to.
Well, yeah. Aaron Rodgers got hurt in practice today. So not bad.
Well, no, of course not.
He was limping. He didn't miss any plays or anything like that, but apparently it was he injured his right calf in OTAs. This was his left calf that was bothering him. And he had 7 straight incompletions at one point. So not a good day for practice, but at the same time, he's had a couple of injuries before they're allowed to actually hit him. So to your guys' point.
Yeah. He looks, and to be honest, and this is not to poo-poo the jive. We have friends that are Jets fans, and I'm not trying to I'm yay,
air quotes, friends.
Hey, Jets fans is the air quotes. Jets fans is the air quotes because they're their little brother forever. But it has to concern you that there's one quarterback of note over 40 that's ever won Super Bowls. His name's Tom Brady, and he was the best to ever do it. There's a reason nobody else has done it.
Flip side, he was a 6th-round draft pick that nobody heard of. So
I mean, you're not wrong. He was a 6th-round draft pick that nobody heard of, and then he was like, I'm going to be the best ever to do this, and maybe sacrifice my marriage to play one more season poorly. Regardless.
Yeah, he heard that quote, and he's coming back out of retirement tomorrow.
Great. Excellent. We don't have to talk about Baker Mayfield then, because that's just a tragic story as well. I'm going to pivot away in hopes that, maybe Aaron stays healthy or he gets driven into the ground. We'll see what happens. Well, this is why we play the game. We are going to pivot into the AFC North just for you, Mike Thomas. And I want you to lead us off your 1 through 4 here.
Mm-hmm.
Your AFC North, Kenny Pickett to George Pickens, is going to be a thing as long as Pickens cannot commit offensive pass interference on every single catch.
Well, I mean, if he does it and doesn't get called for it, then we're all good.
Then he technically didn't do it.
So he technically didn't do it. So it's only illegal if you get caught. So if he can do it without getting caught, go for it. I try not to get bought into preseason hype, especially when it's the Steelers. But there's almost never preseason hype for the Steelers, so it's a lot easier said than done. I'm having trouble keeping my expectations in check for this season. So my instant, I'm going to be a dick but kind of mean it reaction is to put the Steelers at number 1, but you can't do that. You can't sit here and realistically say that the Steelers are going to be 1. It's going to be Bengals 1A, Steelers 1B, and then the Ravens and Browns in the who cares column.
And the who cares. So, Mike, explain before we get into Mike Thomas a little bit. What do you feel about this? How do your rankings stack up? How are you feeling about the AFC North?
So, obviously, giant elephant in the room is, does Burrow start week 1? I think that he will, but obviously he's coming off of an injury, and Jamar Chase just said, fuck it, dude, don't play till week 5, we'll be good. So,
he did say that.
That's almost verbatim, actually. But it's the Bengals division. It's Joey B's world, and we're just living in it, as far as I'm concerned. With that being said, it is a real put up or shut up year for Lamar Jackson, because not only did he get his contract, but he got weapons. Like, they got him some people to throw the football to. So it should, not to, as you've been saying, I want to steal your terminology, to poo-poo on Mike Thomas. 1A, 1B really should be Bengals Ravens, because you have to expect wins out of the Ravens with what they've constructed on offense. And not to say that the Steelers are a bad team. It's just I don't see the Steelers finishing in second at this point. But I also haven't seen enough of Kenny Pickett personally to be like, I'm sold. Kenny Pickett's the man. So maybe that'll happen this year, and then me and Michael have beers, and he'll just laugh at me and call me stupid, and then I'll have to pay. But because that's how I am.
I'm liking this. I don't see any downside to this at all.
What could go wrong?
He was good. You're stupid. Buy the beer. But and then the Browns are in 4th because we saw Deshaun Watson last year, and it wasn't good. It wasn't the Deshaun Watson pre the massage news.
Apparently he needed those massages and additionals, and he is a good quarterback.
Yeah, they worked, I guess. He hasn't found an alternative. He hasn't got himself a little pocket, so to be good. But hey, he'll figure it out maybe. But at this point, I can't put them anywhere higher than 4th.
Honestly, I watched the Untold Johnny Football story today, and I just really believe that no one can succeed in Cleveland. I just feel like that franchise is doomed to destroy humans, just in general, like people. If you go there, except for Nick Chubb, for whatever reason, Nick Chubb is too strong to be crushed by Cleveland, but he is the only one. He is the only one. Yeah,
that's why.
It's because he doesn't have to have everybody looking at him at all times.
And that is very possibly it.
I firmly believe that sports franchises, you can have owners that are very hands-on, and shit falls downhill in the sports world. So you get shitty owners, and they're the types that are super hands-on. They get that nonsense on everybody all the way down. And the Deshaun Watson fiasco, you look at those press conferences after they announced that news, you could tell it got. You have bad owners in the NFL that don't know what they're doing, but they have more money than God, and they're able to just go there and ruin these franchises. And that's what they've been doing in Cleveland my entire life.
And
they do it well.
I mean, Dan Snyder's gone now, so all these owners are just vying for the opportunity to be the fucking worst.
Who wants to be the
Yeah.
worst?
So
race
is
to
it
the
the
bottom.
Haslam family? The Haslam
It
family
is.
that owns the Browns? They're up there.
Yes,
They're
They're
getting there.
competing for it.
They've
they're
got a
chugging
shot.
along.
They suck so much they can't
Hey,
even be
they
the
want a
worst.
title so bad.
Mike Thomas, what have you seen out of the Steelers? And we'll talk about preseason games here in just a little bit. But what have you seen out of the Steelers that gives you hope that they will be able to leapfrog this paid Lamar Jackson, Odell Beckham Jr., Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews is still there. They probably have an offensive line in Baltimore. I don't know for certain, but last I remember, it wasn't the best.
The Steelers have a stacked defense. Assuming TJ Watt is healthy, their defense
He changes
is
everything.
for real. I mean, he is, in my opinion, he's the MVP of the league because when he plays, they win, and when he doesn't play, they lose, and he's not the quarterback. Very impressive that just over several seasons that stat holds out. I think their defense is going to be stacked. Their offense, they've got a lot of really young pieces that appear to be making strides. George Pickens was good last year. He seems to be getting better. Kenny Pickett was okay last year. He seems to be getting better. Everybody there is getting better. The offensive line, they got better. So Najee Harris has a chance to actually do Najee Harris things. So you've got a defense that's stout, an offense that is young and upcoming and could score points. And I think that's the formula for a team that can surprise people, jump into the playoffs, and make a run for it. I'm not saying they're going to win everything, but that's the formula that you look for those surprise teams.
Well, and that's the thing is like the Bengals MO is we're going to score more points than you, right? And if Joe Burrow can't get his face off the ground because TJ Watt is standing over him after each and every play, the Bengals aren't going to win that game. Like, I'm sorry, Joe Burrow is the machine that makes them work, regardless of Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon. Like, that offensive line is bad. It is not even like average. It is bad. And if you're able to hit the quarterback, that's going to change things. And if you have a healthy TJ Watt, that changes a lot of things. That changes a lot, and I really think it could kind of shake up that division in a real way. And I'm not a Lamar Jackson believer, personally, just because I haven't seen him do it. It's the MVP year was amazing. It was outstanding. You know, we've never seen anything like it. But the dude averages under 200 yards passing a game. He's got weapons. Can he hit them? He's never been the most accurate dude. You can't really hit the dudes that he's had to throw the ball to before. Like, unless your name's Mark Andrews, but you're a giant body, like it's hard to miss you, and he still does. So we will see.
But it's weird. When he uncorks, it looks great. It just doesn't hit the target.
throws a great ball. It's a tight spiral. It goes, but it is not accurate, which is a problem.
Could go to the parking lot, you know.
And it'll be the best ball
Baltimore.
thrown in the parking lot. It'll be the best one thrown in the parking lot by far. NFC North, Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings, Green Bay Packers. Mike Spillane, what do you got?
So this is a tough one, you know, because it's
they all feel kind of even a little bit.
This is like a seismic shift of a division. Like,
a lot happened.
I am going to say that the Lions win it. And
Okay.
I just think that, like, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a great wide receiver.
Good.
And I think if Jared Goff has more protection, which I think he's going to, I think he's going to be good. The defense isn't bad. And they also got a running back in Jahmyr Gibbs, who I think has the ability to be explosive. I could see the Lions winning it. And I know that that's kind of weird, but like, I don't have faith in Kirk Cousins anymore. I just don't. And I can say that with the utmost confidence, being the team that knocked him out of the playoffs last year. Like, it was like a lame duck president just trying to make decisions and no one wanting to do it. Like, that's what it's like watching Kirk Cousins play quarterback now. It doesn't agree with what he wants to do. Like, with that being said, it 2A, 2B is going to be, for me, is going to be Vikings and Bears. And then I'm putting the Packers in third because Packers in fourth because of the fact that until I see Jordan Love productive in a game, I just can't put stock in it. Like, I can't put stock in Jordan Love. They still don't really have a great receiving core. They still have Aaron Jones and Dylan there, but like, I don't know. I can't elevate them because I can't believe in the quarterback play, and that's a big part of the league now. So,
Mike Thomas, what do you got before we weigh in?
Yeah, I think Packers 4 is a pretty safe bet. If they don't finish 4, I think it's more likely it's because somebody else shit the bed than they did good. So I think that's a fairly safe bet. I like Lions to be first, but I'm not off of the Kirk Cousins train. I watched quarterback.
Why? He's old as
so
tits.
I'm back in. I'm back in.
He's so old. But he gets massages. That's the thing. We've learned.
He gets
massages.
How much
cold cash he's got?
That's right. He looks like me.
I like him because of that.
He's got that like, aging PTA dad vibe going.
Definitely does. He's gonna be on the PTA when he retires. For sure.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. For sure.
He's already there.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Tentatively sits on the board. He's like, I can sit in this time. It's on a Tuesday. This is my no football day.
Hold on. That was pretty great too. Where he was just like, Tuesdays, I don't do football.
That's
Tuesdays,
so crazy to me.
I mean, as long as it's not a good matchup or a good game, it works out for him. If it's prime time, it sucks. But yeah, every other week, it's
or if you have Thursday night football.
To be fair, it's not like he's ever showed up for a primetime game in his life, anyways.
Yeah,
you know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's bad,
and we like that. I do think the Vikings have a good chance of being number one, but they did. I don't think they're as good this year as they are last year on paper. So that's where I think it's pretty possible the Detroit Lions are going to get better. Got a great coaching staff there. I don't know how many changes they've had from last year, but I don't think it's been a complete turnover.
Yeah.
If they didn't lose any assistant coaches or anything like that, yeah. I would not want to bet this division because the Lions are going to make a strong run for it. The Bears, is Fields going to make a step forward, or is he going to,
He threw three really good screen passes that went the distance in their game.
Screen passes.
Two. He threw two screen passes that went for touchdowns.
Well, if he threw
screen passes. Throw 3 screen passes. It's just 2 of them were touchdowns.
2 of them were touchdowns, but he did throw 3. I was correct on that.
Well, if he can throw a screen pass for a touchdown, yeah, then he's got some good receivers and running backs. If they can make that step forward, I can see them competing for second place. Maybe I don't see them competing for first.
Yeah, my concern with Minnesota, and I am the staunch Kirk Cousins anti, so it's nice to have someone agree with me here. I've seen him with Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, and with they had Dalvin Cook last year and the years prior, and he's never been able to do it. He's got less weapons now than he's had before. He's got a better number 1 receiver, and Justin Jefferson might be the best receiver in the league right now, but every other piece is not as good as it was. We haven't seen, Jordan Addison's a rookie, so maybe he picks up the slack on this, as the number 2 or whatever, but I don't believe, and like he's getting up there as well in age. So like we saw in quarterback, the hits are going to start affecting him more. And that they've done nothing to protect that offensive line. Like they were like Vikings, totally going to go offensive line. They're going to fortify it. They need to keep Cousins up. And they were like, wide receiver. And everyone was like, I mean, good pick, but also, what? So yeah, I'm gonna actually be the outlier here. I think the Chicago Bears are going to finish first place in this division. I just
Ooh.
think Justin Fields came on last season and like they kind of let him go and do his thing, and he was really good when he did his thing. His receiving core has been upgraded. The offensive line is starting to come together. I think the Lions are going to be second. I put the Vikings third, and then yeah, Jordan Love does not, to me, look like he's a guy that can get it done to this point. Packers fans and their team want to like be like, he's a guy, he's a dude, he's doing it. I don't fucking see it. And like, it's great that he can make throws into a net in practice, but like nobody is trying to hit him. Like I think the NFL tweeted out a video this weekend and they were like, oh, a perfect pass by Jordan Love. And it was like, the safety literally had his hands on it. If he would have caught it, that would have been an interception, but he literally like didn't catch it. He just smacked it away. It was a perfect pass to the wrong person. What are we highlighting here? I don't understand. I don't know what's going on. So
that was the intern on the social media team.
It was bad. I was like, well, I don't understand why this is a highlight. I'm confused. So yeah, I'm not a big believer in Jordan Love at this point. And you know, a lot of what you guys had said, Packers wide receiver core is kind of shitty. Their offensive line is not the best. You know, Aaron Jones is getting older. Dylan is not able to be a feature back, I don't think. So a lot of things working against Jordan Love here. Mike Spillane.
One thing that I listened to, there was like a fantasy football special that was being done by ESPN the other day. And one of the things that Adam Schefter said on it to kind of keep in mind is Justin Jefferson wants a new contract. Like, what if things aren't going great in Minnesota and Justin Jefferson just says, well, I'm not going to play until I get a new contract? Like, that's something that I would say is an absolutely real possibility as far as putting them further down the pecking order. And I do agree that, like, that's why I gave, like, the Vikings the, 2A, 2B treatment with the Bears, because some things happen one way or the other and both of those teams can go down the tubes. Like, if Justin Fields gets hurt, they're boned. If Justin Jefferson sits out, where the fuck do the weapons come from for the Vikings? Because you also lost your star running back. And I don't think that Alexander Mattison is going to replicate Dalvin Cook numbers. So, I think it's a clear 4. 1, 2, and 3 are very open in that division. But for me, the most consistent team, I think, as far as how they will like falter if things go awry, or how they will fall if things go awry, I think the Lions are the safest bet. Which is weird to fucking say. Like,
it's a weird feeling.
Like, I feel like my brain just tried to shut off and restart for just saying that. It's like the fan went way too loud.
Well, we have spent a lot of time in the NFC and the AFC North. I want to move to the division that I think we're going to get through the fastest. Let's go to the NFC South with the Atlanta Falcons, the Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're both located in the Florida, but Mike Thomas, I want to go to you. Talk to me first about the NFC South and how good you think this division is going to be. And just take as much time as you feel like you need.
Yeah. I'm going to take a lot of time because random.org is not loading, and that's where I was going to go to pick my division winners. Because this division is hot garbage.
The hottest of garbage.
The hottest
of
garbage, and it's only because they're all in the South.
Yeah, it is 112 degrees of
hot
garbage.
To be fair.
This heat dome is just making it smell real bad in these football stadiums. Where is the silver lining? Carolina Panthers? Are they the silver lining? Maybe the Atlanta Falcons? But all these teams are garbage. Somebody's got to win it. I'm going to throw a dart. It's going to be the Saints because they got good food. They got the best food in New Orleans out of all 4 of those.
That's true.
That
The
when
food
all
will
else
elevate.
fails, go for the food.
Explain.
So there used to be I remember there was an old commercial back when like ESPN first did like their Pick'em series or whatever, and they were talking about like a girl at the office who was picking winners, and she was picking winners based off of which city had the nicest mall. And that just made me think that that's how Mike Thomas
This is
decided.
kind of that. This is
Very
kind of that.
similar. But I agree. Derek Carr is the best quarterback in this division, which is speaking so highly about this division.
Those words
He's
just
a leader
hurt.
of men.
They cause me physical pain.
No, those ones don't cause me as much physical pain because I feel like there's parts of him that can be good, and it's just I don't know where those parts are, but they're there. They're there. The
It's
ingredient
his
is
heart.
there.
It's his heart. He's a leader of men.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Pop some flex tape on him, and he's going to be good to go. He's gonna fix the whole team. But yeah, so it's the Saints in first, and then who the fuck cares in the rest of them because none of these teams deserve to make the playoff.
And to be fair, neither do the Saints.
The Saints are likely to qualify for the playoffs with a losing record, if I'm being honest. But for me, the most interesting thing is just going to be what the Falcons are. Because I feel like the Falcons have some good pieces, but I don't like Desmond Ridder. And this is coming from someone who's seen a good amount of Desmond Ridder because I'm a UCF guy. So UCF and Cincinnati had a really good rivalry over the past couple of years where Cincinnati got the better of us. I feel like they got the better of us a lot of the time because their defense was good and their running backs were good. Not so much that Desmond Ridder was incredible, but he's a decent game manager. He's got okay legs, and they added a running back that everyone thinks is a top 10 draft pick in fantasy, and I just don't understand that logic, but that's whatever. That's a different conversation for a different time. But it'll be interesting to see what the Falcons can do. I really hope that Bryce Young has great health insurance. Like just because
I was gonna touch on that. Paint a word picture for us, Mike, at how quick people were in the backfield with Bryce Young on the opposite team.
So you know that old like SNL clip with Matt Foley, the motivational speaker, where he's talking about how he's going to be the guy's shadow. He's like, I'm here, you're there, I'm here, you're there, I'm here. And then he jumps into the table. It was like that jump to the table was like snap, boom. Like he was already there. And the Jets, don't get me wrong, the Jets and their defensive line depth are really, really good. But that Carolina offensive line got absolutely massacred by the Jets. Like it was bad. And Bryce Young was playing for a portion of the game and he got beat up. Like, so I do worry for him. He's got that Drew Brees size. Like he is small. He is tiny.
He's a small dude.
So that's a gigantic concern for me. I'm not saying that you can't be small and be good at the game because obviously there's people that have proven that that's the case. You can still be a good quarterback and be undersized. It's just that offensive line is not great, and that is something that you should absolutely be fucking worried about if you're a Panthers fan.
So I'll say this before we get into maybe a worse division, which is the AFC South. And we all know like who's winning this division. It's Jacksonville. But regardless, I'm going to also say the Saints, Derek Carr, but I feel so much vindication after these first couple of preseason games based on where I rated Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, and Bryce Young in our quarterback draft. And Mike Thomas and I were very similarly aligned in this because not only did Bryce Young get driven into the dirt multiple times in a horrifying, like terrible way, because I don't think he's going to have a good first season because there's just nobody in Carolina that's going to help him. Anthony Richardson threw a pick that was a bad pick and probably should have thrown another. And CJ Stroud on his first series threw a pick. And it's just like the rookie curve is a real thing. So I just want to say we're 43 minutes into this and Craig will never make it to this point. But fuck you, Craig, in your fucking face. Just want to get that out there. Eat it, Craig. Uh, AFC South, I'm going to take Jacksonville Jaguars because there's no way in hell anyone else in this division has a shot. Mike Thomas, who you got?
Yeah. Jaguars. They're the only football team in there, followed closely by the ghost of the Titans, and then it's hot garbage after that.
The hottest of garbage. Mike Spillane, who you got one in the division?
Picking against the Jaguars would just be throwing money away at this point. Like, the Jaguars are by far the best team in this division. Will be a decent playoff team as well. Like, they're going to get it. It's not like the NFC South where I'm saying that they're going to make it with a losing record. Like, the Jaguars will have a winning record going into the playoffs.
They might
and
not
they got
lose
better
the
too
division
by
game.
adding. They got better too by having Calvin Ridley coming back from suspension. Like, that's another thing that people are forgetting about. Calvin Ridley is still a damn good wide receiver. So it's and then you're right, goes to the Titans, Derrick Henry and friends, I guess you can say at that point. Like,
The
that's
ghost
what
of
the Titans
DeAndre
are.
Hopkins, Traylon Burks.
Oh yeah, I forgot about D Hop. He's there. That shows how
Doesn't matter.
uninspired of a move that was for a man who wants to chase a ring. Sorry,
that just
Titans
showed he
fans,
doesn't
that was-
want to chase a ring.
He
Right?
wants to pay.
He wanted a
So,
paycheck.
He wanted money.
If he
which is
wanted to
fine.
chase a ring, there were other teams that would have gladly taken his services at a discount.
Yeah,
He didn't want it.
absolutely. And then after that, I mean, flip a coin. Like, is it going to be the Texans? Is it going to be the Colts? Both teams are going to be bad. It's just going to depend on what's healthy and what's not.
Super
If
bad.
Jonathan Taylor's healthy, maybe the Colts finish in third. If he's not, then it's the Texans.
Or if he
But
plays.
yeah, I don't know. I'd wager that the Texans are probably going to finish in fourth because I think the Colts have slightly better weapons, especially if Jonathan Taylor plays. So
Let us get the what could be a competitive division, but not in the best way. The NFC West with the Arizona Cardinals, LA Rams, San Francisco 49ers, and the Seattle Seahawks. Let's talk about that before we talk about what might be the other most competitive division, not counting the Vegas Raiders, in the NFL. The West, I think this is the 49ers division to win easily. The Rams, depending on what version of Stafford comes back, but like even still, Stafford is on the wrong side of that aging curve, doesn't really have a back anymore. Like, what does that mean for his arm and his throwing motion? Cooper Kupp's coming off of kind of a serious injury. The Cardinals are without Kyler Murray, who is the only thing that wills them to any sort of victory ever. And I don't believe in Geno Smith, regardless of DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I don't care about any of that because I don't believe in Geno, the quarterback. So yeah, I think this is the 49ers division to win. Then we'll have probably the Seahawks in second. I'm going to say Rams, Cardinals, and the Cardinals are going to get like the first and third pick in the draft this year, which is going to be nasty for them. Mike Spillane, who do you got?
it's amazing that like we're probably all going to be on the 49ers. Like, obviously I'm pretending to be in Mike Thomas's head right now, which is a scary place. But
It's dark. It's cold.
there's
Kenny
reruns
Pickett
of him
highlights
and
play there
playing.
all the time.
On a loop.
But no, I think it's the 49ers, which is also just kind of interesting considering the fact that they could have the weakest quarterback starting, depending on if Kyler ends up playing at all. Like, I don't know how you feel about either Brock Purdy or Trey Lance, but like a lot of people don't feel terribly great about it. But it's the 49ers, and then I put the Seahawks in second as well because the 49ers defense is just too damn good.
So
It's too damn good. And then the Rams in third, and then the Falcons probably getting the first pick in the NFL draft.
Cardinals.
Cardinals, sorry, different bird. Still red jerseys though.
Black and red, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Black. Every team wants to have a black jersey now.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
Black jersey, black helmet. It's the only way to go.
Mike Thomas, who do you got?
There's two words that strike fear in the hearts of the San Francisco 49ers. Geno Smith.
Oh, God.
That man has thrown 14 interceptions since 2015. That's 2 interceptions a season, guys. Granted,
How
he
many of the
has
seasons
played
is
like
he?
only one. Only one was he a full-time starter. But it doesn't matter. Facts are facts. This
Facts are
man
facts.
threw over 4,000 yards last year as an ancient, however old he is, person in the NFL. So
As a
don't
pop
put it
pop,
past him.
he's a pop pop.
And he's got 80-year-old Pete Carroll behind him coaching him up.
He does.
Who's
have
very
80-year-old.
spry on
He's
that.
super
He shuffles
spry.
like a 78-year-old. It's great. It's the 49ers, 1. It's the Seahawks, 2. The Rams, 3. The Cardinals, 4. And it's just the Rams sold their soul for a Super Bowl and they won. They don't care.
They don't care.
They got nothing to play for.
Aaron Donald probably cares a little bit. He should have just retired and they convinced him to come back.
Didn't.
He didn't. But he got paid, so like not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. It's always good when you try to get your starting quarterback to go away and he's like, nah. You could also just pay me the millions that you said you would and we'll be cool.
It'll be fine. No big deal. We'll sweep it under the rug.
Yeah.
AFC West. This division I think is super fun, except for the Raiders, which I think we're going to see Josh McDaniel crawl back to New England after this. But regardless, AFC West, Denver Broncos, Las Vegas Raiders, Kansas City Chiefs, LA Chargers. How do we have this breaking down? Mike Thomas, I want to start with you.
You can't not put Mahomes and the Chiefs at first. I would struggle to see if you could do that. Then the question is who's 2? And that depends on which quarterback shows up. Does Herbert rebound from last year, or does he turn back into a pumpkin like he kind of started to last year? Russell Wilson, is he going to cook? Is he coming back? Was Nathaniel Hackett as bad as everyone says he was? Yes, he was. But also Russell Wilson might also be not that great anymore. So who knows? There's so many unknowns, but I do think 2 is going to be a battle. And then the Raiders are just going to be along for the ride.
They're going to Raider.
Yeah.
Raiders
I don't know how close this division is if everybody stays healthy. Like if the KC Chiefs stay healthy, who's competing with them for the division? You could steal a game from them in the playoffs, but who's going to compete with them over a length of a season?
I don't. Between Mahomes' ability, between Mahomes' ability and like Andy Reid's play calling brain, I don't think there's anyone that can that has a prayer. Like there's not a deep enough defense in this division that could threaten them, and that's what you need to beat the Chiefs. You need to be able to make them settle for short field goals instead of touchdowns, and there's not a defense in this division that I think can do that. Mike Spillane, who do you got?
So yeah, I mean, betting against the Chiefs is just irresponsible. It's the Chiefs division. I don't have any qualms about that. But second, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ride with Mr. Unlimited. Give me some Russell Wilson and the Broncos under Sean Payton. They're talking a lot of shit.
Talking so much. I love it.
I think they'll end up backing it up this time. So I'm going to put them in second, and then give me Chargers in third. Realistically, it's a 2A 2B situation again. I'm just going to give an edge to Sean Payton because he's a better coach than what they have out in LA. Staley, I think. Brandon Staley. I don't like Brandon Staley, especially if you look at the playoff loss against the Jaguars. That's one of the worst debacles I've ever seen from a coaching standpoint. So
it's true.
I'm going to give Sean Payton the edge there, even though he's going to be getting back in the swing of things. And the Raiders are just, oh man. I weep for
Josh
Oakland.
McDaniel's not head coach material. I think we've learned, at this point, not a guy.
He's not. And that's why I say I weep for Oakland, because they built this nice stadium in Vegas. They built this huge cathedral just for the team to be even worse than they were when they were in Oakland. So Oakland, I feel bad for y'all. I hope if you guys still support the team, I'm even sorry about that too. So
yeah, I'm going to go Chiefs, Raiders second. No, I'm just kidding. That would be terrible. Chargers, I'm going to give second just because I think I'm a big Russell Wilson defender, big Russell Wilson fan, but I just think Herbert has more ability at this point than Russ does. As long as we're assuming health, if the wide receivers in LA can stay healthy, they're better wide receivers than the ones in Denver. And Herbert's a better quarterback at this point in his career than Russell Wilson is. That puts Denver, they're 2B for me. I still think we could see a 2 wild card, 3 wild card situation. It is really between the East and the West. You could see multiple wild cards in both divisions or a full sweep. But yeah, I have Broncos as my 2B, and then the Raiders, I think, are going to be terrible. And I'm very curious what they try to do to trade up to 1, because I think they need a Caleb Williams kind of quarterback in order to start making any noise in this division. Because they're so far behind already. If you don't have a foundational franchise quarterback behind Mahomes and Herbert, who I am high on, I don't think there's no hope. Like, your defense can be as good as it wants to be. If you don't have a guy that can will you to victory, you have no shot. So that's what I feel. That's how I think. That's what I feel. Anything else you guys would like to add before we wrap up our division winner segment? I think we're just going to merge these together and have our Super Bowl segment as well. We'll just pick who we think is going to be in the Super Bowl this year. I will start that, and I will say I think this year we're going to see a Kansas City Chief San Francisco 49ers Super Bowl. That's where I'm going to go. I think that's my thoughts and feelings on that. I think Kyle Shanahan's going to get back, and I think he's going to fucking lose because Patrick Mahomes is disgusting. I will now go to Mike Spillane.
Oof. Okay. I agree with you on the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs are undoubtedly going to be in the Super Bowl. And
You
then
think the Saints, right?
The New Orleans Saints are going to go on a run, man. It's the Derek Carr show. He's just got so much to prove to the Vegas Raiders and the Vegas faithful.
All heart.
I think it's going to be the Eagles again. I think they're going to go on a redemption tour, and they're not going to get redemption. And then the team is going to fall apart.
But wait, if the field is bad again, then you definitely know the fix is in for the Eagles, even though both teams have to play on the field.
Both teams definitely are playing on the same field. You're right. That's something that's irrefutable. They don't swap out the whole field.
They can't. It's impossible. They can't do it. Mike Thomas.
They say all the time the AFC is stacked, the NFC is not great. And even though it's true, when you look at all the teams laid out before you, it really just shows how shitty the NFC is going to be this year and why they had to change the Fox CBS broadcast schedule, because Fox was going to just have nothing.
Nothing.
There were going to be so many good AFC games just buried on CBS. So even though I'm upset by that, because I don't like change, at least this way we're going to see some more good games. But yeah, it's like, who could it even possibly be in the NFC? The Eagles and the 49ers, and
that's really it. That's really it.
Yeah. I mean, the Vikings or Lions, maybe.
No.
Yeah, no. So, boy, that sucks. I'm going to go 49ers.
Well, here's the thing, NFC. Though. You're making that comment, but like, who's going to make it aside from the Chiefs?
I was not going to go Chiefs.
Okay.
Okay.
The conversation started.
He's going to say Pittsburgh Steelers going all the way.
No, I was going to go Bengals.
Oh, okay. I don't hate that pick.
I think if Burrow, even if he misses time, to Jamar Chase's point, just come back in week 5 healthy. Who cares? They don't need to be a wild card, or they don't need to be a home team type of game, a home game type of team. I'll say it right eventually in the playoffs. They could absolutely go on the road and win and get to the Super Bowl. And I think they would. So the Steelers could even win that division and lose to the Bengals in the first round of the playoffs. I could totally see that happen.
Bad. That would make you feel real bad.
Of course it would make me feel bad. I am not excited about this here, but I'm telling you the truth.
So then that still kind of raises my question, though, is in the NFC, we kind of all agree that it's a 49ers Eagles show, and that's about it. I don't think that you're wrong in predicting the Bengals, and we said the Chiefs and the Bengals is the AFC show. Is there anyone else that you think could sneak in as a Super Bowl contender in the AFC, or are we just literally flipping a coin between two teams in each side right now?
If the
I think
AFC,
the Bills could make a claim. I think Miami could make a claim if they get Jalen Ramsey of 2 years ago and not last year, and Xavier Howard kind of steps up a little bit. Their defense is decent, and like no one can run with their wide receiver room. Nobody can.
When is
So
Jalen Ramsey due to be on the field?
they said 6 to 8 weeks as of surgery. I think that was like 4 or 5 weeks ago. So he's looking to miss the first 2 or 3. I think they said he should be active week 4. But if I'm Miami and I win 2 games in the first 4 weeks, I'm giving Jalen Ramsey all the time he needs to come back healthy, so that we're not having him at 80%. We have him at 97%.
Fair.
the AFC has several teams that I think none of us would be surprised if they had double-digit wins and made the playoffs. And if you've got double-digit wins and you make the playoffs, you've got a good chance to go to the Super Bowl, right? So Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, New York Jets, even though we are the number one Jets hating podcast on the internet.
They're wearing green,
would
so.
would any of us
Jets
be
sympathizers.
upset if the Jets? I mean, I would be upset. You're right, but I
would be upset.
You know,
I would feel
we
bad.
would not be super shocked. I would be the only one not super shocked if the Pittsburgh Steelers made it. But, you know, there's a lot of preseason hype around them, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Chargers or Broncos, if those quarterbacks take a big step forward this year. Like, I don't know. I feel like the AFC has a bunch of people that you're like, yeah, I could see the path. I could see the path to the Super Bowl. Whereas the NFC, you're like, ugh.
I just my only reluctance, and I agree with most of what you said, my only reluctance is Patrick Mahomes is a beast. Like, that guy just doesn't allow his team to lose. And like, Travis Kelce seems to be the most unguardable human on the planet, which I don't like, he's gonna throw Travis Kelce the ball. Like, Kelsey's gonna get the ball, but you can't stop it. I don't understand why.
It's because he's a big man.
He's very large.
He's a big man.
He's very large. Did not get to talk to Taylor Swift, though. She was like, I don't want to talk to you, which I think is hilarious.
I will add on to that, too, just to throw another monkey wrench in there and also be a homer. Anything can happen in the playoffs, baby. Look at the Giants beating the 18-0 Pats from a wild card position. Played every playoff game on the road, So once you get there, you never know what's going to happen. But I'm still with you in the fact that, like, from the NFC, it really looks like it's a 2-horse race, and then there's like maybe 3.5 horses in the AFC realistically. I don't want to talk about the half horse.
That frightens me.
But I will say,
just kill me.
I will say, because you mentioned the Bills, though, I think that this is coming to the close of their window. Like, they're at the close of their window. They have to win it this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if they made some kind of like earth-shattering trade mid-season to try and get them there. Like,
well, Stephon Diggs is going to be 30 this season, which
he's dead.
He's dead. He's fucking dead. Take him out back. Take him out back. Just do what you got to do.
Jello.
No, it really. Get out of here. Nobody wants. No, and a receiver that is his type of receiver. He's very route specific. He's a route technician, but he's very fast. 30, we typically start seeing a fall off from that kind of ability and that kind of play, regardless of how much yoga or massages or whatever he's doing, whatever he does. The body doesn't recover the same way at 30 that it did at 25, 26, 27. So I agree. I think we're going to start seeing that kind of tail off. They have good tight ends over there. Gabe Davis is a fine piece, but he's not a number one. And like, I think in order for the Bills to succeed, they need a number one. And I think we're seeing the sunset of Stephon Diggs as a number one in Buffalo. But with all of that being said, this is where we will leave you. These were our division winners predictions. We got into Super Bowl talk a little bit, broke everything down for every division but the South, because why the fuck would you care about the division? Thank you guys so much for listening. Please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let us know your division winners, your picks, and if we are the number one Jets hating podcast on the internet, because that would be a point of pride for me. I would really like that. So let me
Boo
know
green.
down below. Boo. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. We appreciate you, and we will see you guys all back here next time.